as we sit here watching.
All right, so here we are at Oral Roberts University. This is the entrance here. Those are the praying hands. I figured I'd start here. This is like a main entrance here. So this is Lewis and Billy Joe Doherty Circle. Right here, this was renamed. I think it was the Avenue of Flags back in my day. But right there is a visitor center. And I think this is where most people will come in. So there are several ways to get into campus. Obviously, this is a university, so the campus is kind of large. This is an open field over here. And back in my day, we used to play intramurals over there. I don't know what they do now, but I love this Avenue of Flags. It just represents a lot of different countries. At this university, there are people from, many different countries that come here. And that was the case in my day. So we'll walk in a little bit and take a look. All right, so it is fall here, so it's not gonna be, or it's winter, so it's not gonna be the greenest time of year and the most lush, so you're not gonna see a ton of flowers, but there are the praying hands right there. And here's some shrubbery in the shape of a cross. And there are like benches and things over here, and it says educating the whole man. It says, and Jesus increased in wisdom, in stature, and in favor with God and man, Luke 2:52. So that's pretty dope. Not gonna go into any buildings today, but we'll walk over here a little bit and show you the visitor center. So everything now is being done with this blue glass. So back in the day, everything had, that's the GC, Graduate Center, and everything was in that gold kind of stained color, and that's supposed to kind of mimic Solomon's Temple, but now everything has this blue stained glass. So everything in blue is newer, and everything in gold, but I think the campus is still beautiful. So, and when you come in, you can just drive in here and park in like a parking spot over there like I did. Right, and here's kind of the back of that visitor center. Again, there's a small parking lot here, and then one right here. And I won't be showing the entire campus. I'm just gonna be driving to different parts. I'll cover a lot of it, but you really have to come out and see it. This video is just like a quick preview. As you can see, they're doing construction on a building there. I don't know what it is. I know they just opened this visitor center like a couple months ago, sometime in the fall. I think maybe August, September, something like that. So that's nice. And then those are dormitories over there. That's Gabrielle. That was like the newest dorm when I was here. And then you had a dorm called Shakarian that was taken down, and it was Braxton, and now it has a completely different name. That is Christ Chapel. So I'm just gonna head over towards the Maybe Center for now, and then I'll kind of make my way around. All right, so right here we have the Maybe Center, and then the Baby Maybe Center. I don't even know if that's what that's called anymore. So back in the day, there used to be a class called Charismatic Life and Healing that was done in there. And Richard Roberts filmed his, show in that area there. And the Maybe Center back in the day was actually, before the BOK, it was like the venue in Tulsa. There's a sign for the Maybe Center there, and you can also enter campus here. So I'm standing like in the middle of the street. All right, and because the campus is so large, I am going to just drive around the Maybe Center. It looks really good. The Maybe Center used to have that gold coloring and everything, and I think this looks a bit more modern. Those staircases weren't always there, so I feel like they've built out this lobby. That might have been done while I was here, but this building looks really good. They've just updated it really well. Like I said, that top part, which is probably some kind of metal siding, that used to be gold. So now they've updated that. And as you can see right there are the towers, which that used to be a medical center that Oral started. It was a hospital, and then it went under and became like an office building, office space type thing. Sorry about this parking lot is a little jittery, but this is a very nice building. And the ORU basketball games are here. And like I said, they used to have a ton of concerts, and they still do. But the BOK is kind of taken over that space. But this is a nice building. Here is another building that they're building. That was not here when I was here, definitely. And you can see the Baby Maybe Center there. And yeah, I'm not sure what this building is. And I'm not really gonna cover the towers. Unfortunately, years ago, like maybe 5 to 7 years ago, I made a video about those towers, and I was actually inside of the Cityplex towers. And I deleted the video and I completely lost it, unfortunately. So that sucks. It's nice in there. We're driving in. This is like another entrance into the university. So if you go this way, you'll hit the lower lot. That's the GC. That's Christ Chapel. And this is just another side of the Maybe Center. So I guess it's called the Global Learning Center now. I don't know if they still have Golden Eagle Broadcasting. As you can see, I like the globe in the front. That's pretty dope. So this is quite a large parking lot. I'm just gonna drive back over to where I was. But you have old school satellite dishes over here, and a lot of parking. And so like for graduation and stuff, there's a good amount of parking. All right, so right now we're looking at Fred Creek. And it's interesting, back in the day, like the early 2000s to the mid 2000s, Fred Creek was janky. It was just this rocky, small creek that ran through campus, and there was basically just rocks on the side. This is a nice way to walk on campus. You know, Fred Creek obviously goes over there. And this is kind of a protected walkway, whereas back in the day, this walkway wasn't even here. There was a way to drive through here, but there was no sidewalk. So this has really been built out, and it's really nice. I really like that. And we're gonna walk up this way to Christ Chapel. And so you wouldn't drive and park up here. Like guest speakers and equipment and stuff would be driven up through here. There's Christ Chapel. It's older too. They used to have the gold on it as well. The structure's the same, but they've replaced the gold with the blue, and they did that way back. That's been that way for a while. And as you can see, here's kind of a closer look at the construction. So yeah, and here's a look at Fred Creek. It's just beautiful, and it's very, I mean, it's pretty clean for a creek. You can see the bottom. I mean, that's pretty shallow there, but you know, it did not used to look like that. It was not a romantic or a scenic thing back in the day. All right, so getting a little closer to Christ Chapel, you can see, you know, they have a little landscaping ORU thing, and we're actually going to walk this way. So classes are out for winter break, so hopefully I don't get ushered off campus, but it is what it is. But you can kind of see some remnants of the gold on this building. But I mean, Christ Chapel is very nice. And I'll say this, like, no matter what you think of ORU and things that have gone down, I think as a Christian, you should always be prayerful of any institution with ambitions of training people, educating people, and changing the world for Christ. So I'll just throw that out there. So yeah, it kind of has like a stucco type build with glass. And I guess this is called the Herman Irrawaddy Women's Wing. So like I said, that was Braxton when I was in school, and it was a completely different building. And it was before that Shakarian, and that wasn't even there. But here's another look at the construction here. So there was a lot of unused land back in the day here, and a lot of walking space and just open areas on campus. And obviously, as the ministry and university grows, they're going to have, nicer accommodations and things like that. So I'm glad to see that. Here's another part of this building. Very nice. We're approaching these dorms here. Also very nice. Okay. So when I was here, this dorm didn't extend out this far. Yeah. This is the Nico Nyanjatora Harjo men's wing. So that's dope. And walking this way, we're walking towards the prayer garden, which is always an iconic place on campus. A lot of dates through there, a lot of praying and meditation. Anyway, here's another side of Christ Chapel. And I'll show you the front of the building. All right, so when you're coming to chapel, you would come from whichever dorm you come from, but a lot of people come from there if you're in EMR and Towers. And yeah, you would enter through here, or there's a door on the side over there, but we will walk through the prayer garden. So I'm not gonna walk through the whole thing. Like I said, it is winter. This is January, so it hasn't gotten cold too much here, but I'll just show you a walk about, not a walk through. Imagine these walkways in the fall and the spring and the summer are very nice, and they are nice now. So this is a good look at the prayer gardens. Very tranquil, not overdone, just a beautiful place to sit. And again, that is the graduate center over there. I'll kind of walk around there a bit later. That'll probably be my last stop. I'm gonna make a round through campus. So yeah, this is nice. And there's the Eternal Flame on top of the prayer tower. And so there used to be like a little store and tour thing where you could go up an elevator and just walk around, and there were like old pictures of ORU and just some stories about Oral Roberts. And you have plenty of seating around here, which is nice. There's the GC, which we will return to. And here's just another look, a wide angle look at the prayer garden as we approach. As you can imagine, during the springtime and whatnot, there's a lot of nice plant life and shrubbery around here. Here's the other side to the prayer garden. Again, I'm not gonna go down here. Fun fact, when I was here one summer, I was playing Capture the Flag, and I was chasing a friend, and I clipped my leg on the statue beside Jesus. I think they changed this up a little bit. That wasn't there. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping around trying to remember. That was a little bit different, but there was a statue beside Jesus, and I clipped my leg, and I ended up having to go to the emergency room, so that was not fun. But a lot of good memories in this place. There is a student center over there. I'll walk around that here in a little bit, but we're gonna go this way and explore this part of campus. So I will say, like most universities, I love that Oral Roberts University does the whole mind, body, spirit thing, because that's important. The body's a temple, and when you're here, there's a lot of walking. Love that. That's super nice. So yeah, they didn't have that when I was here either. I mean, they had different things, but I think like there wasn't like a little gradient that went up like that. So there have been some enhancements, and there are definitely more benches around here. So we'll head this way towards this Epcot looking building, and I cannot remember what it was called. But this is a hall where like some plays happen, some recitals happen. So I was a little off. So this dorm was not here when I was here. But I think these are both new structures, and like Shakarian and then Braxton was kind of in the middle. It was just one structure in the middle, and it was just a women's dorm. This is like the music hall where all the music students have their classes and keep their instruments. Howard Auditorium. That's right, people would do the Howard run. You're not supposed to do that and run up those ledges there, so we'll get a little closer to that. All right, and by the way, that is Timko Barton Music Hall. So you can walk through those doors and then through another set of doors and get to the other side of that building to get to Saga. But this is Howard Auditorium, and you can kind of tell this is like an older structure. The gold paint's kind of fading. I imagine they'll turn it blue here soon. Yeah. I wonder if they're going to even keep that up or if it's even used anymore. I remember going in there and it felt old when I was in there. I mean, it didn't look dilapidated, but it doesn't look like it's in use. And it might be torn down, which is sad, but here's another part of Timko Barton, and this looks very 70s. Now this building looks like it may have been, enhanced, redone a little bit. There would be little music things in there when you would have like quartets, and I remember going into Timko Barton and they would do little concerts. We'll head this way. So this is Gabrielle. So back in my day, this was a new dorm. I think they built this dorm, I don't even know when. But this was like a premium dorm for women, and you had to pay extra to live in this dorm. And then you have your little entrance down there where you would kind of sit in the lobby if you're waiting for a girl or a roommate date or hanging out with somebody. And then I remember on the edge of Timko Barton, there was like a music studio where you could produce and do things like that. So, and I will say Gabby's starting to show its age a little bit. I think this was like opened in like 2002, 2004, something like that. But you can kind of tell she's a little older now. Blue paint's faded a little bit, but still nice. And so we're gonna head this way towards the upper lot. And so this is where you park if you're a student. You don't park down in the lower lot, which I'll show you a little bit later. You park up here. And one of the cool things about ORU is that you could have a car when you were a freshman. Like I said, at Timko Barton, you have music production here, which is cool. And those are pretty good hours, 5 to 10, 9 to 10 p.m. I'm sure that's 9 a.m. Hopefully. Who knows? Anyway, we'll keep walking. So the upper lot is pretty big. Like, you would park over here if you lived in Gabby and Shakarian. And then there was a security gate. I remember coming back from, me and a friend used to valet park, and we were speeding on the way back. We got to drive some nice cars. Our cars were okay, but not, we were driving them like the Porsches and things. We were parking, and he got pulled over and he got a ticket for the amount that we made that night. We didn't even make that much money. He was mad. So, fun story. Anyway, this dorm here is called EMR. There's a little bit more of EMR in the picture. So it was an older dorm. I never lived in this one. And there's a little area behind here. And this is the front entrance to Timko Barton. Again, you can tell it is an older dorm. But, that doesn't mean it's a terrible place. But we'll walk this way. So there are external stairwells on the sides of these dorms, as there should be if you need to get out. But I think those were locked for the most part. From the outside, at least, which would be smart. Again, you have the upper lot up there, and just walking this way, this pretty much looks the same. You would have guys out here talking and sitting, and on college weekends they'd be throwing balls around, and There you have your dorm director's quarters there. So this is definitely an older building and in line with that gold style, but not bad. Right, and so walking up out of wide angle, you see towers. And I think these have been renamed. So back in the day, well, that is Wesley Hall, and that's Michael Hall. And these were men's dorms, and then there was Susie, and then I don't remember what the name of that dorm was. But those were like women's halls. And then in the middle is what you call the fishbowl. You would come in and you'd have RAs sitting at the front desk watching for curfew and things like that. And this is what you call the lower lot. So, yeah, students wouldn't park here. More cafeteria workers. And this is Saga here. And that stairwell is like a back entrance to the cafeteria. We didn't really use that too much. I don't know if they do now. But we'll walk this way to the front of EMR. They've changed this. There's a student health center there, which is good. Campus post office, the CPO. I remember getting my mail there. You have a little post office box, and I remember waiting to get packages, getting that Dell laptop. Dude, you're getting a Dell. And there was a front entrance there. So, I mean, this dorm's not bad looking. I never wanted to live here. There was the stigma that this is the rowdier crowd versus Michael and Wesley, which were a little bit more subdued. And this is called the Zopelt. So there were some classes that were kind of downstairs in a little bit of a basement. Those are golf cart security uses, but you park your bike over here. Pretty neat area. This down here would be the entrance to the Eagle's Nest. And now I guess they just say the lower level. But yeah, before you didn't have Chick-fil-A. It was just like a cafeteria run by the place, contracted to feed the students. And you'd have funds loaded on your card and you'd eat there. That's the front of Timco Barton. So that's pretty nice. And here's a better look at EMR. So just nice dorms, you know. Does look a little older, but brings back a lot of memories. Cafeteria is that way. All the students back when I went here had to go up through this entrance, unless you had, you know, you're in the wheelchair or something like that. Then there was another entrance. This right here would be the entrance to the Zopelt, which would be where you would take like your exercise 101 classes. I remember it had these old springy seats, but good times nonetheless. And this is Claudia. Here is a women's dorm. It's basically the sister dorm to EMR. We'll go wide angle so you can get a little bit of a better picture, but you know, the layout's pretty much the same. So esports virtual gaming center. Okay, all right, very interesting. That was non-existent in my day, but as you can see, here are towers. So we're gonna head this way. Very nice. And you can see Claudia Roberts Hall there. All right, so you park your bike over here. And actually in my day, they didn't have this. You park your bike somewhere up here. And now they have like a campus map. It's funny, I remember when I originally came here, I stayed at Michael, and they had students, I think chaplains and APAs, taking golf carts down. And I had my computer, my desktop computer, on a golf cart, and it almost flew off. Those guys were driving like maniacs. But we'll walk a little closer. So this is Susie Hall. And then that is Francis Hall. It's pretty much all the same. Yeah. think this is a little different. They didn't have a bench out here, but anyway, we'll walk this way. All right, so these are not the newest dorms. I would say they were middle-aged when I was here, but just walking this way, you have a good view of Cityplex Towers and then the Student Center. And I think there's like a alumni center at the top of that. But this is kind of a good view of campus. You have the prayer tower there. So you have your dorms. Alright, so walking this way, you'll have to excuse the wind. I apologize. It's always windy in Oklahoma. Can never have sun, no clouds, no wind. But this pond has always been here. They've built it out and kind of cleaned it up a little bit back in my day. I sound like a really old timer, but anyway, it's true. The pond was a little bit grimy. And I think it was probably like, I don't know, maybe 2/3 or 1/3 the size, but this is a very nice area now. This track thing wasn't here. This track complex wasn't here. The baseball stadium was, but this complex in here was not there. Neither was that sports center there. So all this stuff got built out, and I think that sports center got built out a little bit after or towards the end of my time. But this is just another view of that student center. I remember this was just an open field. And so when I was an RA, we did like some fitness stuff there, competition stuff. And there was these were fields that were used for intramurals, actually. But yeah, this is a very nice, tranquil area back here. You have a little veranda over there. Again, I'm not going to walk everywhere. All right, so here's another look at the back of towers. So not much of this has probably changed since my last video. Here's the track and the sports stadium. And so like I said, this used to be a field, and there was a track that went around here, but it was just a dirt track and it was just grass. And it basically went where this track was, and there was some sand volleyball courts back here. And they do have tennis courts over there, so we'll walk this way. But it is a nice scenic area. As you can see from here, this is a good look at the track. There's the back of those women's dorms, so I'll walk up here a little bit. All right, and so here you can kind of tell, probably got like a maintenance shop back here. I don't know, paint shop, storage, whatever. This is a good view of the area. Like I said, there's lit tennis courts, and you can see the neighborhood right there. And there actually is Fred Creek. So I'll walk that way, and I'll go by that baseball stadium there, and then there's a soccer stadium up there here. But this is a nice area just to come and sit, and I'm glad there's still some open area here where you can come and read, and just maybe spend time with the Lord and meditate. You can see the houses over there. It's a nice neighborhood. Tulsa is a hilly area, so you have some homes in the hills that are nice over there. You got a water tower there. All right, so walking back here is a very, very nice area. You can see Fred Creek here. Pretty dope. Very scenic. It's kind of what the walkway looks like. I'll walk down a little bit and show you some things down here. All right, so that's the track and field building right there. And as you walk here, you got a little emergency call box, which is good. And then you have a little bit of open access to Fred Creek. There's not always water in it, as you can see. It's lights out here. So this is a nice little walkway, and this has been here for a while. This isn't my old video, so won't show you too much more of this. We'll get to the baseball stadium and then the soccer stadium, but there's a look at Fred Creek. All right, so here's a little open space between the track and field facility and then the baseball stadium. So here's kind of a look at that. Obviously I can't go inside, but you know, it's a nice field. Got your sponsors there. So I'll walk this way. All right, so this is kind of a look at the baseball stadium. It's H.A. Chapman track facility. And if you're entering, this gate would be open and you'll walk up from this way if you're a student. And then there's parking over here. So we'll walk this way a little bit and I'll show you that. Also, while I'm here, this is a good look at the GC and the Student Center. So I'll head there shortly. All right, so this is a pretty good view of the Graduate Center right here. And this is a good view of the baseball facility. So ORU's always really had good, baseball teams. So glad they got this. I mean, they got this a little while ago, but we are going to head up this way. So if you were going to the AC, which is the aerobic center, you'll walk up here and there's a sidewalk right here that I'm gonna walk up, and I'm gonna go up to the AC, which is an older building on campus, and behind it is the soccer stadium. All right, and another fun fact is that back in the day, if you got a package delivered and the CPO didn't have, the room for it, or if it was larger, you had to come down here to come get it. So I do remember that. And there is a little walkway from here to the GC. Back in the day, this bridge was here, but Fred Creek was so small and really unbordered that it was just like a grassy area. I think there was a small sidewalk, but I really love what they've done with that. I mean, that's been probably, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago that they did all this. All right, so we continue our approach to the illustrious aerobic center here, and as you can see, it's kind of an old school building with that stone front. So we'll walk up this way. So here's the entrance. Kenneth H. Cooper Aerobic Center. Obviously it's not open right now. But yeah, this is a scenic campus. In the fall when these trees had leaves. That's probably the oldest building on campus, I believe. So headed that way. I mean, there are some old school vibes. It's like an old school classroom vibes for the AC. So anyway, we're gonna walk back here. So when you come to a soccer game, I honestly don't even remember where you parked. I parked down there most recently, and I think that's where most everyone parked, because you can't really get up here unless you take a drive around the back, and I don't think you can unless you're on the team, family, or part of the other team. So we'll walk up to this. Not much to it. That's a back entrance to the aerobic center. Don't know how that's used. I'll show you the field. So, kinda hold you up over. That's the field right there. All right, so this is a look a little higher up of the field. Not too bad. It's the AC. And this is 81st in Delaware here in Tulsa. So, Oral Roberts University campus borders 81st Street. So one good thing is there is a fence that borders the campus all the way down, just so people cannot walk off the street, and there's controlled access. Here's kind of the back of the AC, and we'll walk down this way towards the, I can't remember what this is called, Hamill building or something. Like, this used to be housed like the business offices for Oral Roberts Ministries, I believe, and then I think it was like student archives or record, I don't know. something like that. So it was kind of a multi-purpose building, and I think I was told that it was the oldest building on campus, which I think it's been kind of updated a little bit, but it's still older with that stone sidewall. So, all right. So you have tasteful updates to the side of the building. I think those were there when I made the last video. You have a small parking lot here. It's reserved parking. Driveway here for the people that work here. I'm sure they can badge in, but I don't know if this is like an open office situation. All right, so here's the side of the building, and here's a little walkway. The front door to the building is right here. Stovall Administrative Center. So, yeah, not much to it. I think ORU reacquired that building over there for the nursing program, which I'm not going to go over there. You can check that out yourself, but this does have a decent parking lot here, and I think this is kind of like overflow parking for, I don't know, maybe the Maybe Center or something like that. Okay, approaching the Arm & Hammer Student Center. I like the architecture on it. It looks good. It looks clean. I think it's been here for, I don't know, maybe, I don't know how long it's been here. Just getting a little closer. I like the mesh fencing or structure there. It's a modern looking building, and they've kept it clean. I mean, it looks like one of the newest buildings on campus. It is, I think, outside of the, you know, visitor center and those new dorms that were built, but there's outdoor seating here. I think there's a cafeteria, and then there's also an alumni center in there. So let's see if we can take a peek inside real quick. Something I always like to do. So yeah, kind of see in there. Yeah. So yeah, I think upstairs. One thing I did like is that the school did have shuttles to the airport when students were coming in, which is cool. I don't know if they still do that or if it's just for college weekend or how frequently those are used, but we'll just walk around the side of this building on our tour of the campus. The back stairwell, so not much to that. Probably more of a facilities area, but this is the back of Claudius that I showed you earlier. And so this is beautiful. Yeah, this is nicely done and well done. So this is the student center. I think it's just a place for students to kind of hang out and gather. There's not a ton of room in the lobbies of the dorms because they're old school, but I think in here there's pool tables, probably some air hockey, probably a little cafeteria where you can grab stuff. So, I mean, you could come from class over here, walk down here, go into the student center and kind of kick it, which is cool. You don't have to go off campus, especially if you're a freshman, new in town, or you're broke. You kind of hang out for the free, but we will head this way to the illustrious Graduate Center. So this building, this top part is called the GC, which is short for the Graduate Center. And I'll show you the prayer gardens again. Nice to check those out. But the lower part is called the LRC, and I don't know if they've updated it, but it was kind of old school. So you would go down the stairs, and like directly in front of you is like a classroom area, and then there's a hallway that kind of goes this way and one that goes this way, and there's kind of like an array of classrooms down there. So I think I took language classes down there, and I want to say that over there is like shipping and a dock and everything, but that's like a power station, kind of water station area over there for the school. But a lot of the buildings, I think you know, have these little flame things on the top. The one on the top of the prayer tower is called the Eternal Flame. And so I really like the prayer tower. And I mean, when you think about this campus being built in the 60s, like, that was probably a sight to behold there. I don't know exactly when that was built in the time frame of, or timeline of the architecture of this campus, but still very nice. And so under normal circumstances, you'd have water flowing out of this giant granite iron structure and into this cleaned out little pool here. You walk up these steps to go to class. And so this has the old school architecture. This is probably my favorite building on campus. I love the way it looks. I mean, it doesn't look super modern, but I love what Oral Roberts was trying to do. He was a very ambitious person, very driven. He wasn't perfect, but actually, we'll step down here first. Like I said, LRC building. Obviously, it's not open, but you can see inside a little bit. I don't think the double door atrium lobby thing was there when I was a student. I think you actually went right in. Could be mistaken. It was a while ago. You do have a ramp here. See the chapel over there. But yeah, you come up these stairs to the GC a little more. So to the left, you have like the campus bookstore, and then to the right, you had like a smoothie shop, and then going back, you have the Hall of Mirrors, that sort of thing. But I mean, if you think about this campus was built in 1963. All these structures weren't here at that time, but just being in the 60s, like in Tulsa, the Midwest, this is ambitious and very well done and thought out. So, you know, kudos to the vision of Oral Roberts. Like I said, he wasn't perfect and people have a lot to say about him, but no person of God is perfect. And so you just want to pray and support as best you can. So you do have some architecture or some style shrubbery over here. So I'll walk out and I'll show you like a side profile of this building, and then I'll go ahead and head out. There's Christ Chapel, and there's the prayer tower. So when you're walking out, you get to see a lot of structures, and I actually miss the gold coloring on Christ Chapel. I actually prefer that. All right, so here's the side of the GC. And one last thought I'll leave you with is that when this campus was built, these were all fields over here. Like, this hotel wasn't here, that Walmart wasn't there. And actually, Oral Roberts sold that land to Walmart so they could build that in the 80s. So, I mean, if you think about this campus being built out and being just surrounded by fields, it's just like this whole kingdom in the middle of nothing. And obviously neighborhoods and streets and roads have been built up around here, but such a great vision that was fleshed out. And I pray God's will be done on this campus and in the lives of the students that traverse its grounds. Yeah, I love that wall of gold. And this blue wasn't there. Like, there wasn't blue on the edges of this building. I think it was just white. And then the gold, but just look at that. And yeah, those back doors weren't used very often. Like, you had to walk around, and that stone thing wasn't there, I don't think so. And they've installed benches and whatnot. Coming down here, obviously you have a little ramp for those who are impaired to get around. That wasn't there when I was a student. I think there was more of a direct ramp, but anyway, coming down here, I love this little open area. So let's just say you're like meeting a kid, or, you know, spending time with a friend or a loved one. When you're in town, you can just sit here and enjoy the view. There's the maybe, baby, maybe.
Look at the nations, watch and be amazed. For instead of watch and be amazed, 'cause I'm about to do great things throughout these days. And as you watch the nations, just believe.